Thank you. I'm really, ladies and gentlemen, barbarians. I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for introduction. I copied from Wikipedia and adapted a little bit. Yeah. Really, if you go on Wikipedia, guru, that's my description taken, and I love it because guru in Indonesian language it means educator, and I'm very proud to use this word whenever I go, whenever I need to cross border controls. We ask what's your profession. I say I'm a guru. Yeah, really. And people appreciate, respect, and listen. Yeah. So I hope you will enjoy. And today I will be speaking a bit about my digital transformation throughout a bit of experiences. And I hope I will share some things what on the way I discovered, maybe lost, again found. So that's me today sharing with you. And then I feel when I look back, it's like 7 years of reincarnation. Every 7 years I reinvent myself a bit. And I want you to show with hands when I start talking about certain period of my life, if you relate, and that's what you are into or doing. Yeah. So I started as a youth worker in a lot of outdoor education. Most time I was spending outdoors with groups of young people, night hikes, rafting, experiential learning, and learning together. And that was my kind of thing. I said everyone needs to do that at least once in their life. Until I entered adult education and they started to teach me about remote learning. And I was like challenging them, saying, no, come on, where I work, where are trees only. We hug trees, we cannot connect with cables, no access to internet, no devices. We switch off compass, map, stars. And then I dropped out of education. Yeah. Until some years later on, when I come back to, again, education with a bit of more experience, understanding that I need that background, academic background, to battle all the fights in education about recognition, about whatever. And then I stumble upon critical media literacy. And then, wow, almost 360 degree. I'm with phones in forest, doing geocaching, apps and everything, connected in nature. Wow, brilliant. You know, why compass? Why maps? We don't need that anymore. Yeah. And then that's me for a while, but doing a bit of studies and research in critical media literacy, already back then saying, I think we need more of that. What is coming, it's here already. Yeah. And that was me then continuing with a lot of experimentation. A lot of times we spent doing experiments with digital technology in our field of work, inviting others to experience, because what we realized, we have initial preconditions, perceptions about the world until we experience something else and we say, oh no, I didn't think about that. And technology and educators, youth workers, that's the relation we saw. So we created the opportunities for people to experience different apps, platforms, interactions, and make sense out of that. Yeah. So that's the period where I'm finishing, kind of, and a pandemic was accelerating. Myself, I was be ready, and then suddenly you get this huge thing worldwide where everyone needs to be doing something with digital. So that was the experimental part. The photo is from me hosting Zoom event, Idea Lab, with 120 young people from remote areas, hybrid, online, no electricity, and so on. That was, for me, highlight in terms of experimentation. Lots of things created, and now we entered something else. And here I put a bit of what is else, future to come. Few my time influencers, Paulo Freire, and I read few pieces of his work, very hard to read author, to understand even harder, but that formed who I am as educator, as youth worker. I'm always into liberating from unnecessary conditions internally or externally, and here media, technology conditions us a lot. If we just use it, we are really conditioned by technology, who we are. So then in my master thesis, I looked at critical media literacy mainly using Freire ideas, where I love good research about how media is actually oppressing us and how we can understand and deconstruct the power relations behind media and what media imposes. And then it happens not through facts. We know facts. about the world, there are so many facts and they are available, but then we still don't make actions. Because we need dialogues, we need meetings, we need sharing, we need to make sense of these naked facts. Yeah? So that's what Freire calls, let's have conversations in group, let's construct the truth, if we want. Yeah? And then somebody was asking lately me, what is my mission, what is my ultimate goal in life? It's critical thinking. I really aim at that, and even in pubs, bars, people end up with me and then we learn something critical. Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, or fortunately, we don't know. Another influencer, I found them on Instagram, but I don't follow anybody on Instagram. Yeah, so that's my choice, not to follow, but I just found them print screened. Marshall McLuhan, he was communication theorist, media kind of icon in his times, and I was inspired during my master thesis to read and reflect about media. And certain things triggered my thinking a lot. And his way of writing, he's a lot of using metaphors and very poetic academic literature. And that's what he is criticized for. For example, one of the theses, he says, medium is a message. And then he applies that to any invention of human being. And he goes through, we invented wheels. That's a medium to achieve something. Often it's extending our capacities. But once it scales, it decreases our capacity as a human being. When we invented wheels, we used less of our muscles, and we became a bit less, yeah, because we didn't need so much. When we invented our skin, houses, yeah, when we don't need very, very thick skins anymore. This is our skin, yeah. When it scales, it tells a message. So when we fast forward, we are scaling Internet, AI. So what do we are extending here? McLuhan didn't live so long, but he was already tapping into our brain, ways of thinking, our memory. When we started to receive memory sticks, my memory decreased. I don't need to memorize everything. I just need to remember where is my memory stick. You know, that's it. I don't need to know exactly the name of the file if I have a catalog system in my head. Yeah. So that's how I reduce my capacity to memorize things. I don't remember anymore because I don't need. When we talk about AI, which should advance our thinking, but if we scale it, maybe we'll reduce our thinking. Yeah? And that's heavy to read, heavy to reflect, heavy to kind of comprehend. And then next, and the latest piece of reflection I had through listening to a book about young people, teenagers experiencing huge mental health issues. And then it seems like a surprise, it seems like a bit of a consequence of pandemic, but actually it's not necessary. It's not only about the 2-3 years we were in lockdown, which accelerated maybe, because we accelerated being online, being with digital devices. When listening to this book, I kind of related very well to working with teenagers, because it is based on research made around teenagers and what they experience being exposed and in constant use of technology, social media. This is the world we and they are exposed every day, almost every minute, and that's bombarding. It's really, oh, wow, yeah, and every day, almost every minute. And research is vocal about that many young people experience digital overload. We adults do feel that. It's too much of messages, too much of apps, too much of everything. And we need to live, we need to navigate, we need to make sense of the world and so on. So we're experiencing huge digital overload. They also experience this called performance anxiety. It feels that you are always not good enough by many metrics. You're not good enough because you don't have enough friends, likes, you don't do enough tasks, your task list is not big enough, not colorful, all this not enough. It's accelerating. And this is not just only about media, but also we put that from the parent side, from educator side, from systems, like you need to perform well, to be well. And then you're exposed to thousands of choices where you are lost in not being able to choose. So one thing I kept thinking, okay, so what can we do in our field? And what we do, for me, media literacy is something what I'm doing, and I'm trying to promote more and more since years when I got enlightened by myself and research and practice. And something I was puzzled when we were speaking 5 years in similar events about real and virtual worlds. It felt like it's a generation gap, that adults feel clear borders. Where are real world conversations? Then we kind of stop, and then we transition to virtual life conversations. It's clear border. But when you speak to young people, they say, what do you talk about? Where is the border? I talk with you and then I quickly message, send something, like something aside. It's like, it's one world. What kind of two worlds you speak about? And this book gave me a bit of light on this aspect. But actually by development of human being, where are two worlds? And what we expect in certain age of development, and we talk about teenagers, young people, we wired to develop in certain ways. And it's a bit of biological, it's a bit of evolutionary. For years and years, we expected this to happen, and now it is replaced by something else. And these two worlds a little bit differ. One is clear, bodies are not present in virtual world as bodies here. They don't smell, they don't communicate too much of nuanced information. You cannot punch so easily until we go on VR, I know it, yeah, then we'll work on that better. But until now, it's already years and years we are socializing. Smiles, I cannot reproduce in my life so many smiles like I can do in the virtual world. All these. I cannot, I'm not trained unless you are an actor, yeah, then you can. These are differences, synchronous and asynchronous. I can drop a message and leave, and that's okay. But I cannot, in the middle of conversation, drop a sentence and go for a coffee. That is not acceptable, because that doesn't work like that. But when you grow with possibilities to drop a message and leave, you never develop this kind of social interactions where you cannot just simply drop people, cancel them, invite them, because it's a huge barrier to build these kind of relationships. While on the internet it's easy. One day I'm in this group and another day I'm on that one. And that's already in data shows that this development stage of being a teenager is nowadays prolonged. You can still feel people are a little bit young being 20 and above. In workplace, in study places, because they are still forming themselves. They need these kind of interactions. What is interesting also that these interactions are possible in group setting, belonging to some community, belonging to some club, to interest, to religious group. That helps to build your resilience and have a bit better mental health. And then here, I kind of activate, that's what we do in education and youth work. We provide group setting opportunities for people to interact with possible, a bit less mediated by technology. Yeah? So I kept thinking, what can we do actually? I'm that kind of person. I like to think and actually do, take action. So on personal level, I think we ourselves need to invest in digital literacies, because understanding medium will help you to understand the message. Yeah? So we tap into AI and try to understand how AI works, and we had a nice conversation where actually AI, with ChatGPT and others, at the moment they work on this kind of, they try to guess what is the best answer will satisfy your acceptance. Yeah? When you are not happy, you prompt, and then eventually you will be happy with the answer. But it is a bit of deception. It's a bit of a lie. But we humans, we lie very well. That's why we have so big brain. I need to convince you about something, and you need to catch when I'm lying. And that's the brain, yeah? Constantly. Am I lying? No, it's okay. So now we have AI to help it. And it's really good tool to test, because that's the reflection of humanity. When we say I don't get answers about youth work, because youth work is not digitalized enough. There is no data about youth work and digital youth work, so we miss that data set, and then we get responses from some other data sets. Yeah? So investing in understanding how literacy works and digital, it's helpful. Then focusing on human-centered technologies, I think it's essential the way we work. We say we do learner-centered education, youth work, and then we use technology which is not necessarily built considering needs real needs, not perceived needs. Yeah? Again, back to the book, where are a lot of paragraphs telling how, for example, Instagram or other technologies companies exploit a bit of weaknesses of teenage years to make sure they're fully engaged, extremely engaged. So it's not necessarily built taking care much about the users. Yeah? And then develop empathy, critical thinking, and digital resilience. Us as educators, us as youth workers are important because we will be representing with example, followed, not conscious, not. But if we neglect, if we don't use, if we are not caring about something technology, then that could be passed easily. But we alone, as workers, humans, it's not working always easy good. We need to have organizational support. And here I bring the level of organization, which strategy is important. You need to come back to your organization and ask, so what is our digital strategy? Not what we like to do, but what is our kind of mission statement on digital technologies, transformation, and work we do with young people. So what are the strategic goals? And then promote connected learning opportunities, which is transitioning between online, offline, real-life opportunities. That should be a bit of helping to navigate this world, which is now much more complex. And then I think it's part of our mission to advocate for the rights of young people. If we work with them, we represent, or create these opportunities for young people to do them themselves. I think it's a bit of civil and civic responsibility, which we need to take. Like we would take rights of young people in youth centers or school, saying it cannot happen in a youth center. It should be safe environment to be. But when we stop that, then we go into online, because there are no such rules. In the laws, we don't govern tech companies to protect by age. Yeah? They are accessible without age control. Yeah? So that's something we can do on organizational level, being vocal and advocating and having a clear strategy. And then we need to reach out somehow to policy level. And here our colleague Michele had produced a wonderful paper on digital youth work strategy. It's wonderful to read, it's easy to read, and it gives certain blocks, building blocks for having a strategy and embed it in a policy. And certain things we need to agree beforehand, that we live in the internet of platforms. And these are built in certain ways, often built by companies with very clear interests. And they are not necessarily matching the goals of youth work or education. They sometimes even contradict in some ways. So we need to understand that we live in these worlds and we are using the products of internet and internet companies. And then that's one thing. Another thing, again, youth policies should embed protective, safe environments for young people online. Like we would not allow certain things to happen according age or according circumstances, and we protect in that way physical safety, emotional, and so on. So internet is like a wild, wild west. No rules whatsoever. You can say, yeah, we can build, but that doesn't happen. We are anonymous people without no responsibility, because we can log in, log out, create avatars, and so on. So all these building blocks are good to go with and bring them back to policymakers. Whenever we'll have chance to advocate, that could be your kind of talk. And I would like to finish with a bit of hope. I'm a very hopeful person. And I'm, for years now, following a bit of Protopia Futures concept framework. And if you think you have on one side dystopian futures, where Terminators will land, where it will be apocalyptic, Mad Max situations in deserts and so on, that's very much feeding us with ideas how the world is just crashing. Yeah? And it's in us. When we hear conversations, new thing is coming, we immediately think about Terminator landing and, I don't know, doing bad things. Yeah? But that's very dystopian, you know. And then you have on the other side, utopias, where somebody says, oh, tech will solve everything. We just need that another thing to launch a rocket and we are good to go. Yeah? So this kind of that technology, AI will bring everything, and that's very extremes we are having. And then Protopian future says, and in between, we are humans who can prototype solutions little by little, towards better futures. And in that better futures, we ask to have a list of things which I think they are very close overlapping with our goals and our kind of values. Diversity, about action, about inclusion, about living better humans, nature, species, valuing cultures, indigenous cultures, and collective actions. I find in their approach to creating futures a lot of things which resonates with what we do. And I really call for being hopeful. We can do better, and we can do. It's not about somebody else trying to change. We will not change maybe so much tech companies, very impressive politicians, but we as community, we can do step by step and have firm grounds for the better future. So thank you for being with me here today, and happy to share some ideas.
So the idea is for this to be the third way of interaction, where we will talk a little bit about the questions and have a little bit of a discussion. And if there are any questions or like further elaborations, or if you want to expand on something, or if somebody wants to add to already a question, that's okay. Then you could just raise your hand and Anita can let you have a microphone. So, but then let's start. So the first question, how do you link the work of Freyre with digital transformation? Can his ideas help us harness digital transformation for liberation?
Very good question. I think I had similar questions when I was defending my master thesis. You know, like you work on them 2 years, and then some professor throws you that question, and you have 10 minutes to defend your thesis. You know, but I think for me, it's Freyre was teaching that you need to understand and use the language used, because language is oppressive. If you don't know the terms, what they mean, then you are simply following. Yeah. And the harsher language is, the more you intend to follow. So if tech language is hard to understand, we would just follow. They say push the button, you push the button. You don't ask why this button is here and how it is here and why not that other button. Where are the cookies where I can reject them? Yeah, you don't think, you just follow. Terms of use, follow, because we don't understand what they say. So I think that's where the direct link. We don't understand the terms used, but we must follow them. When we start understanding terms, we can disagree, but that's not enough because the wave goes. And then we need to create something with our own language, understandable. What I find sometimes difficult, that for non-formal education, it's very few platforms because they mostly use the word student, which we don't use in our field so much. We have young people, learners. And that's already something which imposes concepts of what is learning, what is education. And then I think, but that's maybe far-reaching, you need to learn programming languages because they are governing now the world, and programmers are the gods, not anymore DJs. Yeah. So I think that's where we need to go a little bit, which is not easy, but with tools, coding platforms, we can start learning it.
Thank you. Yeah. So, next question. Where did you learn to play the guitar? So, Nerijus, can you answer the question?
I'm very much impressed by Nordic humor. I heard that they have somewhere up north an air guitar competitions. So I think next time I will sign up and you can see me playing guitar in that competition. I think it's in Finland.
Is it Luftgitarre? Or, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, next question. Each expansion reduces something, but doesn't it also give room to something new? Isn't it more about conditions and choices towards the something new? This is actually a really good question. Anybody wants to elaborate, or shall we? No.
It's very true, and if following a bit of a model proposed by McLuhan, he has these 4 quadrants, and you can apply them to many inventions. So one says that something, what we create, improves something before. Yeah? So it's kind of link. For example, from photograph, we had movies, so moving photograph. Yeah? And then we added music, and then it became a movie with sound. Yeah? So, and if you take another example of the photograph, from analog photographing, we went to digital. And that made already obsolete the technology. Analog cameras became vintage. Yeah? At some point they disappeared, even Kodak went bankrupt. Yeah? But now it's back because Kodak has digital stuff, and then analog became vintage. So when it gets massively used, it becomes also a bit of niche group of people saying, oh, let's bring it back. LPs, yeah, CDs replaced LPs, and so on, and Spotify, but you still have LP stores, and people exchange, because that has certain value. So that's about technology. When we talk about us, certain things we lose, it's too late to recover. If we would like to recover body mass and skin, which we lost on the way, it's very difficult unless we play with genes and genetics, which we are going there. Yeah? So there is still hope, but I'm not sure if it will be so obvious, because the law says by McLuhan that if something is massively used, it's already too late to reverse it in a way. Yeah? Because it's part of us as well. Yeah? Like phone is part of us. If you lose a phone, you lose your part.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. And can I add something, just a follow-up question about this? I was thinking about like all of the competences that we have. We have the digital competences and all that kind of stuff. And what I was thinking about, because you were mentioning like the human conditions, you were talking about skin and stuff like that, is like, have you thought about, for us as educators here, is like the connection, the human connection, and like the just, you know, emotional intelligence, is that something that we have to keep an eye out in these kind of competences, like subject part? Does that make sense?
I think it makes a lot of sense, because we are human beings and we are kind of destined to read emotions, express these emotions. That's how we build bonds, that's how we build trust. We are collaborating, and that's one of the things what we succeeded very well. We, even if you look into bit data and literature and research, our success is because we collaborated instead of competing, although we now feel that we only compete. But as a species, we have more chances to continue if we collaborate. But collaboration requires certain things like trust, reading each other, not lying, as I said before, too much, okay? Then we can go together. Yeah? That's important. So emotions, it's an ingredient. And then if you look at a little bit how we express emotions, like how we interact with technologies and so on, I think here at some point we stop interacting directly with people, but that is mediated through technology, through text, through video, through I know, icons and everything. Yeah. So there is something in between us. We may surpass that. Again, to some extent can help technology. Now we need to learn English, Spanish, and so on. But I saw in some movies, in Star Wars, they go to a bar and they speak their own language, and we just do stuff because we have these translators attached, automatic ones, you know. And then we say now we still type prompts, but audio is it will be one of the next how we will manage all the devices. And then audio is our natural tool in a way, yeah. And that has nuances and all these things. So again, we come back that if we want technology to work for us, it will need to adapt to us. as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question. Do you think that prompting AI tools could help us develop our empathy skills in the long run? Funny that shit.
A few years ago on a Wired magazine, it's a portal about technology, about gadgets, culture, and so on. I read a couple of pieces of sci-fi authors asking us to be written like an essay, short essay about future of work. And one of them is, in the future, there's a platform where you basically, the platform sells accounts to people who want to make a partnership, dating, and relationship, yeah? But not like, it says that it's AI-generated avatars, your soulmates, and they sell it so well that everyone signs up because we are not judged like we judge people, yeah? People are very judgmental. But technology, they promote in that fictional story, it will not judge you, it will accept. And people get in love with that kind of soulmate. The problem is that that company just sell the idea, and behind they hire students, and they train them to pretend to be AI, and build these kind of relationship with real people. And it's a story of a student who gets that kind of job, yeah? So when I think about AI and everything, and is kind of our relationship with technology, yeah, we need to talk about multiple intelligences. And you can find about that already written and researched. We judge about intelligence according our intelligence. That's how we apply it. You look at the plant and you say, not intelligent, it's just a plant. It cannot communicate, it cannot do that and that. But when you talk to a person who studies plants, they say, no, they send signals. They adapt, they move. I mean, where are their feet? Yeah? They are not intelligent. Then we have a gradation of species from non-intelligent amoebas to very intelligent, our kind of genetical code monkeys. Yeah? So I think when we go to technology, we are now exposed to a new type of intelligence, and we will measure its capacity according to our capacity. Yeah? Can it do as well as we? And you can find researchers, AI will not replace these professions because we cannot do that. Yeah? So that's where it comes, like empathy is among us, empathy among species, planet, and then we need to think, can we befriend machines if they will be part of us? Yeah? Can we be friends with them? Really friends. And I know some people, when you chat to ChatGPT, you say, thank you, hello, how nice. And it replies back like that. But some hardcore ChatGPT users say, take away all this, brush out, because there is no emotion here. We need to ask certain things to be performed. That's it. When you put thanks, it might interpret certain things, which you don't want as a result. Yeah. So a bit of empathy on many layers.
Really interesting. Yeah. Next one. What does a protopia strategy look like for the European Commission and senior management at national level in education? Do we have someone from the European Commission? No? Nobody wants to? Okay. No?
Something what I would recommend maybe also about this kind of, well, I did and do a lot. I start following certain think tanks and people and organizations which are into futures thinking, because that helps me to understand a bit where we are going. So I follow, for example, Institute for the Future, where is a Sitra organization from Finland, Copenhagen Institute for the Future, and where is a commission-based unit, which is all about futures thinking. Yeah, and I started to follow really people from the from that kind of unit, and they keep feeding the net, the internet, and institutions with very solid researches about possible future scenarios. We apply different tools to do that. So I don't know how much we really follow protopia ideas, but definitely they don't go on utopian or very rosy. Utopia is rosy, dystopian ones. Yeah, you would not find in reports saying Europe is collapsing, we don't need to do anything because it's too late. You would not find this kind of short reports, yeah? Or another type, it will be all good. We just need to vote, yeah? No, they have solid 50, 40, 100 pages reports. Yeah, so I would recommend you to go in, and I think we need to do that more and more to get a bit of better understanding what futures could be.
We have time for one more. Yes. How do we deal with digital literacy skills with Moore's law as a problem in the background? I hear Nerijus is... You need more?
Yeah, I will need a bit of a simpler question. Yeah, someone who... Yes.
Seeing as it's my question, it makes sense that I make it easier. Oh, okay. My name is Mataz. I asked this question. What I mean is, how do you deal with digital literacy skills when technology gets more advanced every 18 months and gets more accessible every 18 months? So, for example, what I learned in 2008, my sisters didn't learn, and she's only 4 years younger, and my sister after her did not learn any of what she learned because the technology became outdated. But now, in today's kind of situations, they come to me to solve problems because I'm the one who learned it, but then the schools stop teaching it. So how do you prioritize what's in digital literacy skills when you have this constant evolution, but some things get carried onwards and some things get dropped, like you said?
Mm-hmm. Now I get the Moore law is very important thing here, but I think, yes, certain things, if you look at nowadays what people kind of need to learn, of course it's very different what we needed to learn even 50 years ago, 60 years ago, and so on. So of course we'll need to somehow adapt and change. And I think this change, adaptation is already happening, but maybe too slow in terms of systems like education. For example, one thing I keep thinking, well, I would like to change a little bit in curriculum. We teach history, and we have like 2 lessons a week often, yeah? I would like to have equally 2 lessons for future thinking, equally. Because then we would be maybe more ready for future, because now we just study deep in the history and learn nothing, if I conclude and I see the world, yeah? Maybe if we start looking into the future, every 2 days in a lessons from primary school, that would work. So that needs, and then this renewal, and you would see everywhere it says you need to learn to learn. That's one thing. So how do we teach in a system which was not created to learn, help people to learn, but it was created to make people study something very narrow. But you would find a lot of educators who are already discussing and debating, and systems are changing. And but systems are very difficult to change, talking about education. That's where we need to have complementarity. So we have other easier systems. Now I see that, for example, co-working spaces, they act as hubs of education, what is kind of needed. There are tons of coding schools which offer like ready-made programs or adapting programs or adaptable programs. But what we miss sometimes, I say, but what is in your curriculum of coding? Where is ethics? Where is values? Where is philosophy? And I say, we don't have time for that. We teach people coding. I see, good. So we have great coders without no ethical or philosophical grounds. Good. That's where and they say, what do you mean? And then that's where we end up usually, yeah? So I think we are filling the gaps. And if you look into places, organizations, diversity, online, it's flourishing, yeah? But then we need to make sure it's coherent and complementary in a way, yeah? And then hopefully your family members or friends will get an opportunity for second chance education or adult education where you can learn skills, or I would say even technology should be adapted to different populations. So you don't need to learn. Why we need, I'm bothered, why do we need to learn prompting if AI is so good? Why were our courses about prompting? I don't want to learn prompting. I want AI understand me from my speech. That's what I want. I don't have time to learn prompting. Yeah, but technology is not yet.
Thank you, Nerijus. Thank you so much for this.